Hi, I'm Yana Sita, a Nyiyabrali woman from the Pilbara and also co-chair at First Nations X. It's a global movement at the moment. You'll see a lot around First Nations entrepreneurship. We are the oldest living entrepreneurs.
I guess the creative space is something that has for generations and for thousands and thousands of years been a medium for storytelling, and Aboriginal people do that really, really well. You know, it was our storytelling and our creative storytelling that has enabled our culture to survive for as long as it has, down from, talking of dreamings to sharing, cultural knowledge and life knowledge in order to survive. But to use the creative space in a modern society, the rules are still the same. It still applies. It's a great way for us to be able to build relationships with others, with other communities, with other businesses, with other people from around the globe. We are actually the broadest industry in the world. We cross over into every other industry in some way, shape or form. I think it's also really important because these are the things that we surround ourselves with every single day, down to the doona that we sleep on every night, the clothes that we wear, the gifts that we give to people. They remind us of a time, a place, a person, a smell, a moment, or something that was really important to us. And I think that, that's what's so special about the creative industries.
What I do with my business is create a space for storytellers to tell their story, and then we sort of just facilitate this. We work with artists to bring their artwork into the commercial creativity space. So there's lots of challenges with that, moving art into design, and we just help mentor and facilitate that to make sure that we can kind of capture the story and tell it in the proper way, in whatever format it is.
Kaya, my name's Jasmine Kadich and I'm a proud Whadjuk Balladong woman with ties to the Bennells, Collards, Maguires, and I'm also a business owner from a business called Benang, which is infrastructure and construction. I'm very excited to see the next generation of leaders coming through. I think some of them coming through are doing exceptionally well. I know we've seen doctors, we're seeing lawyers, and they're coming through politics. So in the next, I say 20 to 30 years, I think our whole landscape will change. And I think what my father and my grandmother and currently what we're doing now is making that difference and making those pathways for these young leaders to come through. And I'm really excited and forever supportive of bringing that next generation through.
We're a platform to help First Nations businesses to understand and provide access to connections and capital and capabilities, and so at First Nations X we do that, providing those connections, and it's one of the key things we do at First Nations X.
Having resided here in Perth and Noongar Budja for the last 17 years, I'm also the Deputy Chair of First Nations X. As a former First Nations founder and now investor as part of the First Nations X, who have found how hard it is firsthand to raise capital, particularly equity investment. We know those barriers, lack of intergenerational wealth, lack of networks, and also ease of accessing capital. What we're trying to do is bridge that gap where we can create those opportunities for First Nations entrepreneurs to access First Nations-led investment and to really grow and scale, not just in Australia, but internationally as well.
Hi, my name is Janae Winmar. I'm a Noongar Balladong woman from Quirting. I'm part of the Noongar Nation. I am a director of First Nations X. Just after I'd established Blackbone Sisterhood, I was going into spaces that were corporate, that didn't look like me, that didn't sound like me, and I was making myself smaller in those spaces. So once I discovered that I didn't need to make anyone feel comfortable with my presence and kind of flip the script on what that looked like, letting my curly hair out, letting my Indigenous business space, earrings, jewellery, my Kirikan outfits, which my sister refers to as my uniform, be in those spaces. So it was exposing them to Indigenous businesses, but also exposing them to feel comfortable with Indigenous people in that space.
We've seen technological advances in the last few years that have just been astronomical in terms of their reach. It is important though that every Western Australian regardless of whether you live in the city or remote community, gets to benefit from this new economy that we're in. And I think the digital economy will also provide similar opportunities for people in remote communities to be able to use digital connectivity to create businesses, to partner with people, to sell their art, to showcase their country and their culture. Just provides an amazing opportunity.